starting the recording for the interrogation of Spica on TSM's collapse. This is Detective Mark Z speaking.
Thanks for joining us today.
Get you out of this.
Can I get you anything? Coffee, Red Bull?
I'll take the coffee.
The coffee? There you go. My pleasure. All right, Red Bull. That's for people who tell the truth.
That's me.
Are you ready? Oh, you ready to tell the truth today? That's good. I love it. I love it when people are ready to tell the truth right off the bat. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so I don't know if you know why we brought you down here today. I'm just going to show you a couple pictures. You let me know if you recognize these fellas. Okay? Right there.
Yeah, that's my teammates.
You recognize them both. Okay, great. We want to know what happened to them.
I don't make decisions, man.
Oh, you're not a decision maker? Okay. Oh, he didn't make decisions.
I'm just.
Well, that's fine. If you don't make decisions.
Foot soldier.
Yeah, very easy. You just got to tell us who makes the decisions, right?
Of course,
so I got a couple more faces for you. Is it this guy who makes the decisions?
No, he wouldn't hurt us, so.
You're right. He's a smiley fellow. Exactly. Carefree, smiley fellow. So it couldn't be him. It's got to be this guy.
Tactical, not 80 carries, they're too dumb.
You're right. They don't have brains. They just use their fingers. If you don't have brains, you can't murder somebody.
Yep.
So I'm left with one person only. This handsome devil. You recognize him?
Oh, I think I've seen him before.
I think I've seen him before.
I don't know, man. He looks really innocent.
He does. He does look innocent. But sometimes it's the most innocent-looking ones that are the most evil in their core.
Sorry, I got nothing, man.
Looking a lot like you, my friend.
I got nothing.
So I have to say, okay, fine. Faces aren't going to jog your memory. How about some gameplay? I know how much you pro players love your gameplay. Here's a couple team fights for you.
Let's get some
gameplay. Tell me, who inted in these team fights?
Dude, Tactical. I told him not to do it, man.
I see. I feel that. Oh, I feel that rage.
You're a little angry there.
I get that. When my 80 carry malfights into the fight, I want to kill somebody.
You know, we talk about it after the game.
I want to rip their mouse cord out.
Might not want them on my team.
It's all good. There's no bad blood.
No bad blood, huh? Okay, what about that one?
We won this game. It was a good game. It was a great game. Hey, where's the good cop?
All right, the good cop. Oh, you thought flower shirt, nice guy, was going to come and play softball. No, not the case. And now you think he's going to be nicer? All right, Mark.
No, I'll show you.
Rip, baby. Roll them sleeves up.
All right, if you want to talk to me, we can talk with you and me. You recognize any of this? Remember any of these chat logs?
Have you been Discord? To Sugon? Yeah, I mean, that's just a friendly banter between a friend.
And a little bit further down where you said you're gonna start replacing your teammates?
That is Photoshop. I did not say that.
I don't know. I see a skull emoji.
Actually, you know, you're goddamn right it's Photoshopped. I will frame anyone.
That is
Someone's
illegal.
gonna burn. You're right, it is. It doesn't matter to me.
You know?
Someone is gonna burn for TSM's collapse split. It can be you.
It's only one evidence. It's not enough, man.
It's got 101% conviction rate for a reason, okay?
All right, you think that's not enough? I mean, I got more in the can.
Parth,
Trump card.
I fired them. Kaido Shengi, I benched them. Just so I could get what I finally wanted the whole time. Reggie's house and car.
Ooh, I just heard motive there at the end.
That's not me.
What I heard.
Where did you get this?
I bugged your house weeks ago.
That is illegal as well.
Yep, didn't need a warrant. I just broke the law. You're right.
My lawyer.
I can change your voice to say anything I want. Deepfakes are incredible right now. You are not getting out of this.
Okay.
Technology
you got me.
is fascinating.
You guys got me. How about this? I'll give you a deal.
Okay.
I'll take a deal.
I'll give you a deal.
We don't care who goes down. You help us.
I'll join the NLSS for 1 day. 1 day, and you guys, I'll give you a name. I'll give you a name.
A full
Who's
day
responsible?
on the analyst desk.
And at the end, you tell us. Yeah.
Okay, playoff series?
Playoff series, big game.
That's a big game. Full 5. All right, you know what? Hey, we're going to draft something up. You sit here, you stew for a little bit. Oh, by the way, hey, that coffee you ordered, got it for you. And we'll be back in just a bit. Thanks, Spica, if that is your real name. Welcome, everyone, back to the LCS and the LCS waiting room ahead of our second day of playoff games. We are lucky to be joined by Spica.
Hello.
He's definitely not here due to any kind of legal...
Are you under duress?
It's under my own,
His own volition.
my own will. I am good.
So thank you so much for joining us, Spica. We're going to dive straight in. We got a lot to talk about. But before we get into all of the gameplay-related stuff, the playoff-related stuff, we have this here to talk about. Why does Raz always look like he's just walked out of a German nightclub? And honestly, the fit you are wearing
You look good.
now.
You look good. You look great.
Look, you gotta understand the style, okay? All of this
Break it down.
actually
Break it
does
down.
look like I walked out of a German nightclub, very specifically. So you know it's fine. The chains here, you see the chains on this shirt? I like it. The funny thing about this,
Yeah.
the material specifically chose it so I don't have to iron in the
You
morning.
chose it.
Nice.
Well, you know what?
sick.
Okay, and so most of you are like, all right, why is that special? I'll tell you why that's special.
Yes.
Because Raz, I don't think, understands how to iron clothing.
Wait a minute.
I've never seen someone treat clothing with such disrespect.
Efficiency.
For somebody that has,
Efficiency.
honestly, you've got phenomenal fashion sense, and you
Okay.
could probably confirm this. Because I like the way that Raz dresses. I like the style that he's got.
I like it. I like
This man balls up suit pants. He balls them up and puts them into backpacks.
true.
This is true, Raz.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is
I was
true.
gonna say I can
can't
corroborate.
That
Who
is-
does that? That's baffling. You're creating more work
What am I
for yourself.
supposed to do? Am I supposed to just walk down the street with this shirt
All
just
right.
perfectly laid out?
I don't know.
I'm just
I mean,
asking to get robbed.
You know what?
Here's my shirt.
I'm gonna get you some stuff. When's your
Okay.
birthday?
September 28th.
All right,
Good
September
luck.
28th.
You ain't gonna
Lock it
remember
away
that?
in the brain.
Write
We're
that
gonna have.
down.
I got some stuff for you.
Okay.
We're gonna get you all outfitted. Okay, let's go fit check here though. The drip check.
Fit
right
check,
there.
drip check.
We're gonna start with Raz.
Gotta start with Raz.
We
I'm going
already
with
finished
Raz.
it. We already did me.
Well, we've determined that you've come out of a German nightclub, but how well
I
are
mean,
you
he-
dressed? Like,
I mean, he
how's the
looks
fit?
great. He
What's
looks
the
great.
rating here?
Okay, so
break it down for us.
shoes I got from Amazon.
Nice.
Socks, not the right
Damn.
type
Not
of
the right
socks.
color.
So red streak on
It's
this
a-
one,
Oh,
black on
nice.
this
Ooh,
one.
it's a fashion
Okay,
statement.
excellent. These pants, oh, you think they're beautiful, right? Sweatpants.
not?
You're-
No, hey, you're
I mean,
keeping it
boom.
out. All right, yeah.
It's comfort over style.
Comfort,
over
exactly,
style.
exactly.
Okay.
I like
so
it.
it's all a lie, guys. I'm doing this straight for comfort.
All right, so what's the okay? So then, speaker, what's the
I
verdict?
was gonna say pass, but then you showed me the pants.
Oh.
Jawstring.
Oh,
Like,
but
that's
kinda
kinda-
good.
Yeah.
You know, I'll still give you a pass because
Okay,
thank
your shirt looks great.
This is
Thank you.
pass
I
fail
love it.
only. It's a
Thank
pass
you.
fail
Pass fail
class.
only.
Okay.
All right, Emily.
Emily, break it down for us.
Break it down. What
today?
you got?
These boots I got on sale, I think at Worlds 2019 somewhere in Europe that I don't
Okay.
remember.
Yeah, I
The
believe
German
it.
nightclub as
Yeah,
well.
the
Speaking, you
German
might need
Oh, you
nightclub.
have a pass fail thing on
pass
your
fail.
back.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. Nice.
Alright.
This I also don't remember.
Crushing
Perfect.
it.
Nice,
Yeah,
great.
right?
Absolutely
But it
smashing
looks
it.
awesome.
Great.
It's a sick
a fail?
outfit.
Oh. I look over and I see the big red fail. I was like, I really like
You
this
know,
outfit.
honestly, can I even put fail? I will feel bad.
I mean, the person you could have done it for was Raz.
Yeah,
No,
I
for
was
you.
really thinking about
No,
giving him
no.
fail.
The socks are borderline.
No, I mean, I was fine with the socks, but the pants really caught me off guard. I thought they're just dress pants.
Yeah.
All right, Dash, break it down.
I mean, simple enough. We got brown Italian leather,
Okay.
Magnani shoes,
Okay.
easy navy blue socks, navy blue suit
Diva,
pants,
got it.
and a
All
nice
right.
flowery shirt. We're
Where'd
not
you
going,
get
we're not
this?
going
Fail.
complex at all.
Looking dashing.
This is Paul Smith, I believe.
Okay,
the
see,
shirt.
you actually remember where you got your
A
clothes.
little
I'm
bit,
just like,
yeah. It is a brand new
I
shirt,
like
though.
it,
They
I
just
like
picked this
it.
one up for me. I like it. It's nice and casual. What about you? What do we?
Just the usual, just the hoodie, jeans, and shoes. I mean, you can't go wrong with those.
Dude, and black and white, the grayscale.
True.
What do you
gonna
guys
give him?
think?
What do you
a
think?
hard fail, right?
A hard
I think it's
fail.
hard
No,
fail.
hard
Yeah,
fail.
hard
Kidding.
fail.
Always a
sweater.
pass for
I
speaking.
love
bad.
the oversized sweatshirt.
Thank you,
look.
thank
This is a good look, man. You're rocking it.
Unironically,
Okay,
yeah.
let's get into some
All right.
LCS stuff. What happened yesterday? I tell you what happened. The big surprise, a 3-0 out of 100 Thieves over Cloud9. Speak, I want to come to you because most people were expecting, regardless of Victor, a closer series, 3-1, 3-2, and boom,
Yeah.
3-0 shutout.
I mean, I predicted 100 Thieves 3-2 just because I thought C9's play towards the end of the split was like they were regressing, right?
Yeah.
I felt like they could only play through Summit, and if he wasn't just destroying lane, they just don't know how to play the game. And I think we really saw that in the 100 Thieves series where they really hard focused him on the top lane, and Closer just kept ganking Summit, and he just kept dying to the ganks. And I think 100 Thieves had a really, really great game plan going to the series, and they executed well as well, and that's how we saw the 3-0.
100%. I think the biggest problem right now Cloud9 is facing, because it's not as if they don't have tools. Like they can play towards bot side, and I think they would find success. The problem is just that they don't have that angle in top lane. I have not seen Summit play a weak side of the map and then play it respectfully, right? And that's just the case. So right now Cloud9's gonna have some struggles. They do have time, thankfully, like going up against Golden Guardians next, where they can kind of either take a look at the draft or just take a look at the playstyle and find out what fits for them. I think ultimately what's going to be the conclusion is just having Blabber go up there faster, just being able to like simplify it to, okay, just make it hard 2v2 and have it be very clear what, some of the ganks that Summit's dying to. And it should be successful going into the next series. It's more so okay, now if we're getting to the top 3, can you take down 100 Thieves again?
Okay.
Can you take down a Team Liquid? I
Yeah.
think
You
that's
talking
tough spot.
like that Golden Guardian series is a sure thing, and I don't think
We'll
it's a sure
study
thing
him.
anymore.
We'll study him. I mean, I think the big thing also is that I believe it was FBI or one of them yesterday in the interview where they were like, it's a team game. And the other thing that really impressed me about 100 Thieves, thank you. The other thing that really impressed me about 100 Thieves is that they had, as Spica said, a very clear game plan of what they wanted to do against C9. They executed it really well, and you could see how much more of a team and more cohesive they were than the members of Cloud9.
And we saw that in the draft, kind of in more ways than one, right? We talked a lot about the quintuple ban, top lane ban strategy that they had, but also bot lane duo. Some new picks coming in, Emily.
Yeah, so I wanted to point out the fact that I really loved the Lucian Nami draft they had. We saw 100 Thieves workshopping stuff like this at the World Championship last year, in the beginning of the season, where they were actually less successful with pushing bot lanes like this. I was actually really happy to see them go to it in Game 3. It's a little bit lower risk in that game because they're already up 2-0 in a best of 5, and it's not necessarily off of this patch specifically, but I am wondering, we've seen Rogue play that lane, I'm wondering if now that we're seeing more Jinx Aphelios bans or less people in the LCS going for that specific trade, if we're gonna see bot lane opening up a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, like taking a second look at it, because we talked about it the last time around, the fact that the systemic change has 2 lifesteal. We're pretty large. So the Vamp Scepter getting reduced, same for any item that ended up building into that. Also, Ravenous Hunter just being taken off completely. Like, understood that there is just going to be just less sustain in the game. And it might just impact the AD assassins a little bit more, like Yone and Yasuo, sure. But it should have an impact in ADs. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of an usually those type of changes take a lot longer for teams to adapt around and figure out which bot lanes work, or like what the actual impact in the meta that will look like.
Some quick looks behind the scenes as EG is huddled up and getting ready to take to the stage, challenging a very dominant-looking Team Liquid. But Spica, back on the patch point, I kind of have a two-parter for you. Number one, when patches like this come through, just what is the approach for yourself as a pro player in terms of like internalizing this information, this data, and making decisions? But then two, more specifically with patch 12.6, like what do you think are kind of the key pieces of it that are going to affect pro play?
I mean, I think the biggest change is probably the Hecarim changes. Hecarim got absolutely gutted. I don't think he's
Probably
gonna
hurt
be
Blabber
anymore.
too.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna hurt Blabber a lot. Santorin, I mean, pretty much every jungler plays Hecarim, so I wouldn't say there's like advantage or disadvantage to any team. But I feel like jungle pool is gonna be pinched a lot. Because so far in this meta, I feel like it's only like Volibear, Lee Sin, Viego. I think those 3 are the best junglers. So I would like to see maybe TL pitching the jungle pool and see how they go with it.
Okay.
Besides that, I don't think there's that many big changes. Nidalee change I don't think is very notable, and maybe the Azir one. Azir is always like a meta champ.
Yeah.
So
Yep, we've already seen him.
I kind of want to see Azir. It's always like an exciting champ for me at least, because you can actually make plays.
Yeah.
So
We had
really,
the ABBA.
yeah, that
Yeah.
True.
that bot tier one. Yeah.
Whoopity scoop.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how teams prepare, because they only have like 3 or 4 days of preparing.
Right.
Which as a pro player, I feel like that's kind of rough because meta can change really fast, right?
Yeah.
So you have to test a lot of things in scrims, and that can ruin like your week. So I'm excited to see what direction these 2 teams take.
So when it comes to patch, I think people are aware at home that the LCS is actually ahead of the rest of the region.
12.6, I believe.
Exactly. We're 12.6. Most are still on 12.5 for now, or 12.5B. For you as a pro player, this was essentially a conversation between the teams, and I think some teams landed on different sides. Where would you have fallen? Would you want to go to the MSI patch, but knowing that you have far fewer days to practice on it, or would you wanted to have stuck to the comfort of what you played all kind of, or in the later parts of the split?
Personally, for me, I would rather stick to the comfort,
Okay.
because if you get unlucky and the patches does not fit your playstyle, you're not going to MSI. So you don't have to worry about that. So I feel like just playing more of what you practice for like the past at least 1 or 2 weeks is gonna be, it's gonna say a lot more of your actual strength.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's gonna be a lot more fair to the teams, and just makes the game feel more competitive, I feel.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, today, or rather looking ahead to today's matchup, just last week, Team Liquid were still fighting for first place, which I think is a little crazy. But our MasterCard Player of the Week, Santorin, found his footing at just the right time. Check it out.
Welcome to the MasterCard Player of the Week interview. The last time that we are awarding this for the regular season, and Santorin is the recipient. I believe that you're ranked second in Player of the Games in general. So does it surprise you that it took this long to be able to pick it up?
I mean, yeah, it is kind of. No, I don't think it's surprising because I do think we have a lot of strong players on the team, and throughout the season, I feel like there's a lot of players that deserve this trophy. It's kind of like, I'm just happy I finally got one with Team Liquid because last year I didn't get a single one, and on FLICKR I got 2. So I was kind of like, I really want one with the TL jersey, like everything, because I really like these trophies.
You mentioned the fact that there's so many strong players that you're with as well on Team Liquid. Does that add a bit to the elevation that a lot of them have gotten this award as well, and now you clinched it here?
For sure. I mean, I feel like any player on my team should have had one, Like when I look at my teammates, how they play, how they communicate, all these things, like I feel anyone could have received this. I'm happy I got it, but for the rest of the players, like they could easily have gotten it as well.
And what a way to set the tone going into playoffs. We actually heard a bit of a clip of yourself talking about fans being back. Can you talk about that a bit more and what it means to you at this moment on Team Liquid to get to play in the playoff setting that's here now?
I'm so stoked to have fans back. I've talked about it before where I'm finally on the top again and then there's no fans playing from the bedroom. There are so many years where, it'd be okay if there were no fans because I'm just losing anyway. They're always cheering for the enemy team. But now they're finally, I can expect them to cheer for me, at least some of the fans. And, I really want to hear them scream on top of their lungs, do all the crazy stuff they used to. And when you make a huge play or something, you hear them scream in the crowd. These are the moments that as a pro player, you will always remember. But all I remember from my last 2 years is me sitting in a bedroom and, waking up and just sitting at my PC and playing the game. But it doesn't really, I don't feel it's like a competitive match. And that's what I've been missing the most.
And it's so clear how excited you and your teammates are. In fact, they were talking on the dive about that. Maybe Team Liquid has the advantage because everyone here is a veteran who has benefited from fans in the past. How do you think that's going to go down when facing a team like EG that has some that have never done such a thing?
So that's going to be very interesting and exciting because I could easily, so there's 2 types of players. There's the ones that when there's pressure, they will play better. And there's also people that will choke when there's pressure. And I don't really know how Danny and Jojo are in that sense, because I do think those would be the 2 players you look at when you're looking at EG that potentially could, choke. So, I'm hoping they choke, but obviously I feel like I can also see in a world where they're just going to thrive under pressure and then they'll be playing better because there's these 2 different versions of a player. And, I'm hoping they're on the choking side of it.
Yeah, hoping for yourself and the Team Liquid fans out there. Even though you're just talking about it's hard to predict, do you have any bold claims about how Team Liquid will do against EG?
I mean, I'm going to be confident and say we'll beat them 3-1. I'm not going to say 3-0 because I feel like that's always, then you're becoming too cocky because I feel like, when you're playing against the best teams in your league, there's always going to be, games they'll take off of you. I feel confident we will win in the end, whether it's 3-1 or 3-2, but we'll take it.
All right, looking forward to it. Santorin, congratulations again on MasterCard Player of the Week.
Thank you.
Time for more LCS, everyone. Back to the analysts.
Confident they'll get the win, but still going to spot them 1 game. Humble as ever is Santorin. Interesting point, though, being made about, the return of the fans. And for the entirety of Team Liquid, that's going to be kind of a point of familiarity. But there are a few faces there on the side of EG who this is going to be a first-time experience for them. And you always have to wonder how players, Speaker, are going to react to that different kind of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, for me at least, I've never played with friends since I was a starter. I played, I believe, 2019 Gauntlet. We didn't make Worlds that year. But since I was a starter, I never really played with fans. So I guess for me, it's like a foreign topic as well. Definitely feel like it makes the game way more exciting. But for rookie players like jojopyun and Danny, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust.
Well, I can give you at least this good news. Later, we're going to go out in front of the crowd. So you'll get to at least first experience how you analyze.
I want to hear the TSM chat.
Hey, let me know
I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, right?
But I never heard it in person.
Now they'll have a reason to do it in person. But I'm curious how you'll compare analysis here to analysis in front of the crowd a little bit later. TL, Evil Geniuses, this is a rematch of our lock-in finals. We're going all the way back 8-9 weeks ago when these 2 teams faced off against each other, but it was a clean sweep out of TL.
Yeah, and so we've talked about how EG have struggled to compete with teams above them. TL specifically have had their number this entire time. I want to ask Spica actually because we consistently hear from EG, not only EG themselves, but other teams in the league. Like this team is so good in scrims. They're actually really good, and it's why a lot of players, I think, have sometimes rated Evil Geniuses higher than we have. What was your experience playing against them in scrims?
Yeah, I mean, it always comes down to the scrim versus stage argument. We've scrimmed them a bit, and we went like 50-50, which I'm not sure is a good or bad thing for them, considering we're doing so hot. But they definitely play super aggressive in scrims. I feel like EG does a lot early game. I feel like they're Inspire's one of the most active early game junglers. So maybe that's the reason as to why their scrim is so successful. But I feel like on stage, people play a lot different. They play a lot slower, so maybe they're not unable to transition to aggression on stage.
Now, Raz, just hammering home the point that Emily already made, right? Yes, they got clean swept in that lock-in finals, but when you look at just the regular season itself and isolate teams above and below them in the standings, they are entirely winless against the 3 teams above them. But that's what kind of creates that, disconnect between what we evaluate EG to be and what we've heard from some players. Even FBI yesterday saying, I think TL and EG are more evenly matched than people are giving them credit for.
Yeah, pound for pound talent, a lot of the times you have to give credit to Evil Geniuses players. And even when we look to them on stage you hear from the players a lot, like just having to take a step back from how aggressive they try to play it. Because when they get advantages, in fact, if you look at just the straight up stats of Gold at 15, they're top 2. But being able to keep those goal leads are difficult when your players are actively looking for risk-taking fights and will falter at big moments. And who are going to be able to take advantages of that? The top 3 teams in this league, if you give them a foot, they will go far with whatever you give them, and they'll be able to take the game back themselves. So I think that's a challenge for Evil Geniuses if they do get a goal lead in the early game, being able to hold it and just play a more reserved game. We saw a little bit of that in the final week.
All right, well, I'm going to come back to you on this, Raz, because we're now going to turn our attention to a hotly contested, widely discussed subject in our community, this split. Evil Genius drafts in general.
Yeah.
But here we're going to focus in on EG's draft.
Reductants.
A lot of Renekton.
Oh, God.
If I see a blind pick Renekton today, oh, lordy. All right, hit us, Raz.
My biggest thing, we always talk about the drafts for Evil Geniuses and then and the players do themselves, but a lot of it can be concocted from the players. And so for me, when I look at them going up against Golden Guardians, the difficulty for this one is that they had, I would say, pretty low damage. Xayah going into the composition of Hecarim, Braum, Graves as well. They picked Graves into the Gnar. There are a lot of picks you can go in here. You can probably go towards the Camille if you feel comfortable there. Aurelia if you're playing towards topside. Like I just feel like Evil Geniuses quite oftentimes when they get put into counter pick situations are not able to or flexible enough to go far with counter picks. This is the same kind of conversations we've had with Impact historically. But then when we looked at the most recent games, I would say the Akali flex was something that I didn't expect from this team. We saw Akali being picked by Impact throughout the split, even when he was honestly on Team Liquid, and it was a good look for them. It's a good flex for both him and JoJo. So if you ever find instances of this, there are times where you're willing to play Akali into the Gnar as long as you get the some jungle pressure. So that's something that is interesting to take note of. Team Liquid certainly has taken note of it going into the series today.
Yeah.
But the limitations comes from the players. And I think that's going to be an issue is if they get red side and having to counter pick versus Team Liquid players.
Some drafts we like, some we don't. So if we can hone in on the ones that we do like and get a little bit more of that for Evil Geniuses, I think that's where we see a contentious series and possibly pushing all the way to 5 games today. That's going to be it for us here in this waiting room. We're going to head out to the stage to get this day underway.
I don't really feel any pressure going to the playoffs. I think I'm more excited actually, since the games mean a lot more. So I'm just excited to play.
I definitely see a lot of people choking when it really matters. So when it comes to playoffs, you will see even the veterans, like, rookies tend to choke more than veterans, but even veterans, you'll choke sometimes because it just, you can have a bad day, something might have gotten to you beforehand, whatever it might be, and sometimes these series matter a lot to you.
I think I'd be more of a best of 5 player. I don't really like playing one game. I kind of like to play a lot of games within a day. My team definitely would perform better in best of X's, just not best of 1s. I think our team is very good at analyzing what we're doing in the game, and if we make any mistakes in the first couple games, maybe we can just fix them in the next one.
So this is where it gets interesting when it comes to like pre-game rituals or whatever you want to call it. A lot of people do a lot of different things. I've seen some weird stuff. I've seen some more like common ones. So on our team, Some people have like the pre-game poop. Some people have like, you know, listening to like specific songs. Some people do meditation. Some people just have like, you eat the same breakfast, whatever it might be, you go for a walk. For me, it's more like, you know, I go for a walk in the morning, get some sun, make sure I eat well before game. And then, you know, for me, it's just like, I kind of just get in the zone by thinking about the game. So I like to watch all the teams play before I play my own game.
I'm looking forward to playing TL because I think they're the only actual really good team. I think that team is probably the best in LCS, so it'll be exciting to verse them.
It's more exciting if you win.
This is true.
Bottom.
I love the sound of playoffs.
Golden Guardians, they've been up and down all split, but they've always had a good early game, and a good early game can win you a series.
Already got the Leona engaged, and now the Golden Guardians strike! I love the sound of a team that's come together.
This team is always underestimated.
The triple, and he's on for more! I love the sound of a dark horse run.
They got JoJo, they got Danny. I have faith that they can make the run.
Welcome to the LCS series. Danny gets another pentakill. I love the sound of a legacy on the line.
100 Thieves just reminded everyone who the LCS champions are.
I love the sound of history being made.
What is it going to take for Blabber to be considered the greatest LCS jungler of all time? You are kidding me with that kick, Blabber.
I love the sound of a comeback. Ahri's on the way in, gets the root. The Burger King is back. I love the sound of playoffs.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the LCS. I love the sound of playoffs.
I think they're ready.
I love the sound of fans.
Yes.
Even more.
Yes.
All right, TSM, evil geniuses, or not TSM, my God, we got TSM right here. You know, actually, can we do something real quick? I did promise Speaker that we would get some TSM chants.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay.
We'll work on that. It's a little, it's a little wonky. We'll work on that. We'll work on that. All right. Team Liquid, evil geniuses, going up against each other. We have to start, of course, in the mid lane. The return of Bjergsen to the stage, up against the rookie behind me over here.
Jojopyun.
Speaker, you have played alongside, you have worked under the tutelage of Bjergsen. Talk to me about this guy.
He's pretty good at the game. I mean, he's been playing for a long time, and he's obviously very, very experienced. And I mean, LK as a whole has a lot of veterans. It's gonna be interesting. I'm just really interested in like their team dynamic because when I played with him in 2020, he was like the main shot caller. And he was very, very knowledgeable as a coach. I felt like he was like the best coach last year. You know, obviously I have a very high opinion of him, and I think he's like the best mid in the world. So I'm really excited to see them play and see how he performs.
It's going to be interesting. If there's going to be somebody that's going to push him, I feel like it's going to be JoJo, someone who has been specifically strong in lane through his stats. And then like the last game we saw through that tiebreaker was putting in a kingdom on his Syndra. So when he feels confident, he goes for it. So I'm going to be interested to see how he can take on Bjergsen.
I think in so many ways, the play styles of these two players in the mid lane, Emily, kind of encapsulates the teams themselves. You've got old reliable in the mid lane from Bjergsen. This guy is probably never going to hard lose a lane.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily going to be the person to win you the game, just also based on the way the meta works right now. JoJo, he's going to take it to you. Highest forward percentage. He's looking to create that advantage.
Yes.
But can he do it against the likes of Bjergsen?
Yeah, I was gonna say one thing that's been kind of underrated about JoJo this year that I think people are starting to realize now is he's been one of the best laners, like just across the board in the LCS. One of the things I'm curious to ask you, Speaka, about Bjergsen specifically is when we had Parth on, he was talking about, to your point, how Bjergsen was, even as a player, almost like a player coach. And he took a lot of leadership responsibility for TSM when you were coming up. One of the things that everyone on this TL team has said is that they all feel like they can carry and they all feel like they have a voice. So what kind of difference, and does that take a lot of pressure off of Bjergsen on this team specifically?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Bjerg over the year has transitioned his playstyle from more of a carry to like a facilitator.
Okay.
As you can see, he just likes to play for his team. He always plays like super selfless. And I felt like he stopped really just trying to destroy the opponent, which I feel like is a good and a bad thing. But he plays really, really stable. Like you said, he never really loses his team the game. He always plays super consistent. So I'm really interested to see how JoJo stacks up.
Hey, that's what makes this matchup interesting because if we're just talking about what the playstyle has been from, it has been feeding resources and putting time and gold into Santorin. And Santorin has been insane so far, which makes this jungle matchup really interesting because of the dynamic of how mid laners are going to be working alongside their junglers. Of course, the player of the week, as you would say, for week 8 in Santorin, the fact that he has had his best split, I would say, of his career. He leads Pogs for his team. And if you look at the players, the names of that team, it's insane that he's the most consistent player on that squad. And so that's why my eyes are geared towards this one. Not only do you have Santorin, who's been killing it so far this week, Split.
Yeah.
He is going up against that LEC MVP in Inspired.
I was gonna say, don't forget this guy won the LCS his very first split ever. He's been to the finals
True.
multiple times. He talked about how many of those statues he was able to pick up when he was on FlyQuest, but didn't get the trophy that matters, that LCS trophy. But if he's playing the best split of his life, that makes you think that the trophy's pretty much a done deal this time around.
One thing I think is super interesting about these stats is the jungle proximity. When we talk about Santorin, we talk about him also as a facilitator and someone who's constantly in his lanes. It was a bit surprising to me that he had a lower jungle proximity, but then we started thinking about like maybe what that means. He doesn't necessarily camp lanes as often. He's like in and out very quickly, especially on some of those mid lane ganks with Bjergsen. And I think it's really a great indicator of the way he plays for this team.
That's why, Speaker, I actually have a question for you because, like, for these junglers, I feel like Inspired has those hard carry performances, but when it comes to like how they work alongside their mid laner, I would say Team Liquid works really well and cognizant with each other, but there are instances where you don't see that with JoJo. What's your thoughts on Inspired overall and how he's been working alongside jojopyun?
I think there's definitely some synergy issues, but you know, JoJo's a rookie, so they have a lot of things to iron out. But I definitely think they have a super, super high ceiling. I feel like their playstyle is really, really similar. And I feel like if that's what EG should try to play towards, just play mid jungle.
Yeah.
And just go off of that. I feel like that's their win con.
All right, okay, if that's their win con, now I want to know whether or not anyone here thinks that they can execute on it and take this series. Raz, as always, my friend, I get to start with you.
I think we have a fourth vote here from the fans. Which one of you guys actually think evil geniuses can take this? Any EG fans?
Oh, that's not a good sign.
It's not good. We got too many Team Liquid fans.
We got 2 EG fans in the crowd
We got
today.
too many Team Liquid fans.
All right, what about Team Liquid? Uh-oh.
The sad reality.
Uh-oh.
The sad reality dash. You can add me in the mix. I have Team Liquid also taking this one 3-0.
3-0.
3-0.
All right. 3-0. We thought yesterday was going to be a long series, and it ended up being short. Speaker, where do you land? Team Liquid EG.
I put Team Liquid 3-0 as well.
3-0 as well?
No. Oh, stop it.
All right. Emily, please.
Voice of reason.
I like League of Legends, and I like to watch more of it when I can. So please tell me I'm getting more than 3 games today.
My predictions have been pretty cursed thus far, to be quite honest. But,
the 2 of us were hurting yesterday.
yeah, I'm going TL 3-1.
All right, we got a game.
4 games.
Yeah.
I'll take
4
as many games as I can get. We know where the fans stand. We know where the analysts stand. At the end of the day, it all depends on the players and how they show up here on this stage. It's a new environment for a number of them. It's an old environment for quite a few as well. I, for one, am excited to see who comes out on top. From here, we're going to the show open.
faces. Yesterday, fans took to the stands for the first time in 2 years and witnessed our reigning champions in 100 Thieves trounce Cloud9 in a 3-0 fashion. Now it's time for us to find out what today has in store. Taking to the stage to begin their playoff journey, give it up for Evil Geniuses! The Live Evil crew may be coming in hot, but it's their opponents that hold the #1 spot. Give it up for Team Liquid! Veterans and new blood alike, ready to rock the rift. As we send it out to our esteemed captors, and Captain Flowers and Azael, make some noise one more time!
Oh, breathe deep that air, Isaac. Take a big ol' whiff. It smells like fans are back, my friend.
Oh my God, man, it is so good. The energy in the building is just unreal from the fans already. The games haven't even started. It's just such a treat to be back.
LCS, man, we got energy like we haven't had in a long time here. I was telling people yesterday that it felt like a ghost ship here for a while, and now we got the whole damn Navy. This is awesome, and I cannot wait to see what Team Liquid and Evil Geniuses bring us here today. Obviously, a lot of people expecting Team Liquid to take this one, so I want to see some firepower coming out of EG.
I'm really excited to see what EG has planned. I mean, pretty much everyone is predicting TL to take this. The crowd was very heavily TL favorite as well, as you can hear. But EG has got to come in with a strong plan right out the gate, show something new, because what they've been doing hasn't been working against Liquid.
If you're on a loss streak against a team, you need to be able to pull out something new, something unexpected, shake it up a little bit. We're about to get into Champion Select here for our first game off the back of those Let's Go Liquid chants. Obviously, they're feeling the energy, feeling the love from everybody in the crowd. Bjergsen here, man. Obviously, I'm sure a ton of people are excited to see Bjergsen's return to playoffs. Bjergsen back in a best-of-5 environment. Bjergsen back to doing what Bjergsen does.
It's the GOAT. He's here. He's ready to play. Bjergsen had such a strong season as well. I was really impressed with how quickly he looked at the top of his game, coming back, out of retirement, coaching last year, obviously, and then just back to business as usual. First team All-Pro right out the gate.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the dude has always been at the top for a reason, right? Like, this is one of our all-time greatest players here. And of course, I'm also super excited. We were talking a little bit, like watching the players walk out. Impact versus Bwipo is going to be such a fun top lane matchup. I always enjoy watching both of these guys play the top lane. Neither one of them is afraid to pull out whatever pick needs to be played for the team, and I hope it's explosive up there in that top.
I mean, Bwipo has been so creative for TL. TL for years and years, winning all these championships through, a very kind of stock standard play style where they're going for 5v5, they're going late. TL has been much more flexible this time around. They can still showcase that style, but Bwipo in particular, bringing out near 20 picks throughout lock-in in the regular season. He is such a creative player, such a flexible player, and that does give a different dimension to Team Liquid.
Yep. Well, let's go ahead and see how our bans are looking here. They're going to ban away Volibear from Santorin. They're going to ban away TF from Bjergsen over on the side of Team Liquid, keeping Zeri out of Danny's hands and just taking Nautilus off the table in general. This has been a very popular support pick in the last couple of months. Like, not having to deal with that feels fine.
Nautilus, Leona feel like the big primary engaged support champions that people are looking towards. I'm just interested to see where the priority is going to lay here for EG. Obviously, Zeri being banned away, that's a big one for Danny. He has been really, really strong on this pick throughout the year. Yep. So going to be taking that away and banning out the LeBlanc from JoJo, who is our most lane-dominant mid laner in the league, has had an incredible laning phase here And that's something that EG, I think, is going to rely on if they're going to get a foot in this series.
Right, taking away the ability to have that snowballing champion that can really take a lane lead and turn it into leads elsewhere on the map really hurts his ability to carry from that lane position.
And I really wonder, are they going to go all in on early game? Are they going to try to play 5v5? When I think of this team, I think of Inspired and JoJo, the guys who want to go more aggressive early on. When I think of Danny, Vulcan, Impact, I think more of the team fighting ability from this squad. So I'm curious to see where they're going to index. If you want to go early, LeBlanc is banned out, but there's still the possibility to go towards something like Syndra, which JoJo has been extremely strong on. You can look towards Syndra. Lee is a very dominant mid-jungle duo. On the other side, it already feels like late game security here for Hansama. It's not a guy to make a lot of mistakes, and they're already looking towards scaling.
Yeah, I mean, Jinx has been in this meta for a while now. They're going to make sure she stays there. She's back here for Team Liquid in game number 1. Now, Ahri picked up for Bjergsen here. Very early pick on the mid lane.
Yeah, Ahri has actually been getting banned out quite a lot against Bjergsen. In the last couple weeks, he did play it 3 times, looked really strong on it, carrying a couple of those games. And after he started to bring it out, people had started to ban it out, especially in phase 2, 4-pick ban. So if you want to get it, he's going to have to be willing to early pick. We'll see if JoJo's going to grab his answer here. That would be the expected response. Right. You get your counter pick mid before some of those options are banned out. Xayah going to be grabbed up here for Danny, so it does look like it's more towards team fighting. Yeah. And you have to decide, what are you going to go for as the answer?
Ooh, hovering Bjergsen's trademark pick
against him. I don't think you do Bjergsen's pick against Bjergsen, but we'll see.
No, I don't think that's the sauce at all, but there's your sauce, baby. Some Akali locked in.
So this is interesting because I'm not certain that it is actually going to be mid. It definitely could, but this is one of the AP tops that Impact actually likes to play quite a lot himself. There is only the 1 game from JoJo so far this year. Impact has actually played it 3 times, so it is a flex from EG. They're trying to hide where things are going, and that will help him in the next round of bans because TL won't be certain which this goes to. If you think, hey, this is going mid, you throw down a couple mid lane bans, well, JoJo can just play that and kind of nullify what you've put in that second round. Tahm Kench should be heading down to support for Core. A little bit of safety there for Hans. Also a very lane dominant against a lot of the engaged supports. So if you wanted to go towards something like a Leona and really scrap, if you engage, Tahm Kench really does win out in a lot of those skirmishes. And post 6, as we all know, it's that safety for Jinx against what they are already drafting here. Akali Lee Sin, it's a threatening dive. Yeah, and that's the safety that Hans will need to be able to take over in team fights.
Well, as we get into our second part of the bans here, Team Liquid is not looking at those solo lanes, but instead looking at what could win EG those late game fights. We're talking about Vulcan flanks. We're talking about big engages. That conversation always brings up the word Rakan, and that'll be banned away. EG gonna throw a gangplank ban up there over at Bwipo, keep him off of the Pirate.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. It has been something that Bwipo has been going to more. I love that poster,
That's such
by the
a
way.
good sign. The fact that it's 2 posters to make it wide,
it's
good
gotta
job,
get wider
Dan.
after every game,
Yeah,
Make
exactly.
It 3,
You have to have more. Every time Liquid wins a game, you make it wider. Every time they lose, you tear part of it off.
We'll see how big it'll get, but Bwipo has been going to the GP quite a lot in his counter picks for top, right? And Impact is a guy that likes to play a lot of these champions that can sometimes be answered by the GP. Leona gonna get banned out. That's another one of those priority engages that I did mention. So Nautilus, Leona, Rakan, all taken off the table. EG will have to find either engage from somewhere besides the support, or they'll have to go down the tier list a little bit to something like an Alistar.
Yep.
We'll see if they're going to be willing to do that. I also just like banning out support here from TL because, as we said, we don't know where the Akali is going. So those solo lane bans could end up being wasted. And Bwipo is going to have counter pick anyway, so he can respond. You don't need to spend the bans on the solo lane to protect his pick. Very likely we'll get jungle here on 4. Bwipo should be pick on 5.
We know Bwipo can play Viego. He's opted to do it before, but this is also a champion Santorin's been putting a lot of reps on. I expect this to be the jungler 100%. Give Bwipo that counter pick. Reveal where the Akali is going to go. You mentioned the Alistar just a moment ago talking about the engaged
It's next
supports.
on the engaged tier list, right? If you need to get engaged from that role, you can go towards it. If you do go Yuumi, I actually think it's pretty viable here. It can be a really strong pairing with the Akali. That is very powerful dive. It is going to mean, as people not loving the Yuumi,
I can't imagine.
It's going to mean a lot of scaling, right? That is kind of looking towards that, but they're very light on engage. So I do think we might need to see something like a tank blind here from Impact to give them the ability to start up fights, because this is what EG has struggled with a lot in their drafting, is finding a well-balanced composition that can actually create action. it is going to be blind Gnar. So yes, kind of like pseudo engage, but really it's more of the flanking, it's more of the following up. They don't have any sort of hard engage, so I do think there's pressure on EG to be playing from an advantage. Similarly, though, on the other side, TL doesn't have any sort of hard engage themselves, so it's a lot more skirmishing. And these types of comps then generally come down to who is winning early, who is actually having first move towards these objectives. Ornn would give you the engage, and this secures your late game.
There you go.
You were looking for 5v5, and that is going to be the read here for TL. All they have to do then is really mitigate loss early on. You're trying to stop the bleeding early here, really make sure that your team is set up for success in those later stages, and it's going to be the pressure on EG to get stuff done, I feel, here early on. Even though they do have really good scaling with the Xayah and the Yuumi, it's tough for them to start out fights.
I mean, yeah, it's tough to start off the fight. You're talking about scaling, but you're not going to hard out scale a comp that has Ornn and has a Jinx to it. We've seen what Jinx can do at 6 items and just completely take over the game if she's not able to properly be focused down. And with something like a Tahm Kench, or having Bjergsen's Ahri there to provide so much threat that he cannot be ignored like we've seen him pilot this before, it's definitely a tall order for EG to be able to get those leads and take the dub here.
Absolutely, but we'll see if they can do it, and they are going to have that X factor of some of these combos here. Potentially the Yuumi plus Akali really can be deadly on the dive in the late game. We'll see if Vulcan and JoJo can pair up. That bonus AP that you get from the Yuumi can really put your combos over the top to where you can one combo some of these carries, and that can be an X factor here. Of course, going to be difficult to do against the Tahm Kench, the denial that is available, and potentially even exhaust from Bwipo playing Spellbook Ornn here later on.
And it's not just Tahm Kench, too. It's CoreJJ Tahm Kench. And I always have to differentiate his picks from other picks just because of the way that he knows how to be in the right place at the right time. The Devours are going to only be used when they need to be used. His decision-making is always impeccable. So it's just... it's more than just third summoner spell Devour. It's like, man, we need to bench this Kench, but it's difficult when the guy piloting it is as good as Core.
Absolutely. And just to give you guys a heads up, we are going to have a quick pause to start things out. There is going to be some audio hardware being swapped out for one of the players having some sort of issue with their audio. It should be about 3 minutes is the estimated time of the pause. And then we'll be right into the action here.
Okay, so since we got about 3 minutes to burn, let's play a fun little game here, Isaac. Because yesterday, the series started off with a 5-man invade and Blabber just getting murdered. Like, you could not air that on primetime TV. It was violence. Now, where's the first blood of the first game going to be in this one? Who's getting got and who's doing the getting?
If I had to guess, I mean, it's tough. I feel like you know, you're going to want to see focus around mid lane. I think I could see JoJo maybe getting picked on a little bit here. You know, range versus melee matchup. Maybe some from roaming from Core. Core is even going very early game setup here. He's actually playing Hail of Blades, Tahm Kench. Hail of Blades, Tahm Kench with Ignite. So we'll see if they can get a little bit aggressive, but I think there is potential to punish JoJo, who is a player who likes to play in the face of his opponents, likes to play really aggressive, and sometimes that means he doesn't always pay attention to where the junglers are or pays much respect to that as some of the other players. So could see him potentially getting
okay, so it sounds like your bets are on JoJo is first-blooded in some sort of a jungle or support play coming to mid to help Bjergsen out. Okay, Azael's crowd, how do we feel about that? You feel like it's going to be JoJo first play? You feel like it's going to be something different? Well, I realize they can't actually give me an answer. All right, let me just ask you yes or no. Y'all think Azael's right? There we go. I haven't talked to a crowd in 2 years. I got to remember how to do this again. We've just been
relearning your ABCs.
Yeah, we
got to walk before we can run.
A, B,
you know,
C, D, E, F, Kench. Now we have to see exactly how Evil Genius is going to pilot this early, because you're talking about JoJo wants to be aggressive. You're talking about JoJo wants to be able to play this lane like he plays lanes when he's successful, where he's in your face, he's applying that pressure. Yeah. What does the rest of EG need to do as a whole to get those early leads and play from a position of strength like you're talking about with this low engage comp?
I mean, it starts with getting the push, right? You have to be able to shove in your lanes. You know, mid lane is going to be pushed in very likely. Melee versus, you know, ranged matchup here for JoJo. He's going to be more kind of on duty just to survive. But Gnar can get the push on Ornn. You know, if Xayah and Yuumi try to get the push on bot, which can be hard against Jinx because of the rocket form early on, and you know, also CoreJJ going a very aggressive rune setup might make them more passive. But if you can get the push, that unlocks Inspired to play his game, right? And he likes to play in the face of his opponents, likes to play in their jungle, taking away camps, looking for aggressive plays, trying to put the enemy jungle down levels to then be able to kind of win out in the neutral game. That's where I think, you know, he is really at his best. And has had some of his best games on the Lee Sin. So
Yeah.
we'll see if EG can get lane prio, because I think that's going to be a pretty big key here. You know, if they can't get push, Inspired's going to get tracked. He's going to get deep warded. And if that happens, it's going to be bad news for EG.
Plus, on a champion like Lee Sin especially, if I see a Lee Sin sitting there at 0-0-0, 15 minutes into the game, I'm like, why the hell do we even pick Lee Sin here? What's the play?
It gets tough.
Yeah, it's rough if you end up in that spot, but it is a team game like you're talking about. If lanes fall behind and you're not able to safely make your movements and make your plays, well, all of a sudden, what else am I supposed to do besides be 0-0-0?
Yep.
I can put a 1 in that middle column if you want, but that's probably not our goal.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough thing, right? Is that at the pro level, people, are so good at actually tracking the enemy jungle that you don't even need to have all the camps warded or anything close to that. If you have one side of the map warded, you can infer very easily where the jungler can be. People play around that appropriately, especially for TL, where there's not pressure for them to create advantages. When you have the Jinx, when you have the Ornn, if you're going even or even slightly behind, you're actually ahead in most cases.
Yeah,
due
you're
to
feeling great.
the way that your champions work. So we'll see if they can do it. EG, I think, also wanting to play very heavily towards some of these early dragons if they feel the pressure, as far as the scaling coming in from TL.
Yeah.
One of the ways to combat that, obviously, is try to set yourself up for a soul win condition, try to draw TL to you before they are really ready to go. Because when you think of champions like Ornn, you think of when the upgrades are starting to kick in. When you think of Jinx, you think of 3-item power spike. Those are kind of the things where you're really starting to feel worried.
Yeah.
But EG have a lot of time to try to make things happen. I think the early game is going to dictate a lot for this series, though. If you come out here, you've already lost 5 games in a row to TL, 0-3 in the lock-in finals, lost both the regular season matchups. If you lose game 1, I do think it's going to hurt the confidence a lot here for EG. So important that they can get some momentum here and at least have a competitive game number 1.
So I want to ask your opinion on a specific champion that we're seeing here, because the Xayah got locked in for Danny, and Xayah, we know, has a couple of different ways that she can be built these days. Are you expecting more of the standard crit approach, or do you expect to see the Eclipse Muromanas type of
I think
Xayah?
just given that he's playing Ahri, Ahri, we are going to see just lethality, and we are going to see Eclipse. It is possible that he goes a different route. If they think, hey, like someone's going to have to deal with this Ornn, it's probably going to be the Xayah. You could look for a different kind of setup, but I don't think that's why they're going this. They're playing double Ahri in the bot lane. I wouldn't be surprised if they're even playing double Scorch. Try to really get lane prio here. It is going to be Gathering Storm, so it's more scaling actually on both sides.
Double Gathering Storm.
So they are playing double Gathering Storm, so they are playing a little bit less lane dominant, but double Ahri is still really, really nice for the poke in lane. Q-Max on the Xayah, just try to poke out this Jinx as much as you possibly can, land all the prowling projectiles on the Jinx and really just try to harass Ansama as much as possible to create an early advantage.
Alrighty, update for all y'all. The audio issues are persisting, and while we continue to investigate and fix all of that, we're gonna toss things back over to the analyst desk to keep y'all informed.
We're gonna race back into position.
I was
in order
looking
to talk
at
I know.
It was Raz and I were sprinting back across the lobby to get here. A little bit of a pause, audio issues, as you could tell. Looking to replace that hardware so we can get back in the game. What?
Apropos of nothing, I want to know what happened behind you and Rez. It looked like Impact spilled his drink like during the opening.
Did it?
And they were like frantically mopping it up.
We have found
Yeah.
the source of the audio hardware issues.
I don't think it's in any way
No,
related.
probably not.
I just wanted to point it out because I was trying not to crack up on stage.
I wish I saw that. I wish camera got a foot of that one.
Yeah.
Because that's good content.
They're gonna look for it. They're gonna look for it. Let's talk draft while we have a moment here. Speak. I want to bring you in on this.
The Lisa 1P.
What?
Lisa 1P, it's back.
There it is.
I'm really surprised, actually. Because
Really?
I feel like Viego is like the best pick for Inspire. So I was really surprised when they didn't pick a 1P, and they didn't ban a 4-5 either when it's like the best jungle option for Santorin.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, right? I mean, obviously we saw the dominance of Lee Sin yesterday in the hands of Closer, but I think your point stands, right? Viego maybe getting overlooked here, Raz, in game number 1 before it gets handed over?
A little bit. I do think that the comp from Evil Geniuses is really risky. I didn't like it. I think we were just talking about it coming into
What don't you like about it?
So I think TL, when they pivoted to go for the Ornn on 5-pick, they just fully recognize that they will be playing towards bot side. If you see Akali and Yuumi in the same draft, then especially since it knows it's going to eat some pressure mid lane, so it's just going to be farming under turret. Like, I'm just fully expecting Team Liquid to just be pushing through mid and then trying for a bot lane dive, because it's, like, bot lane's really susceptible to that. So they're going to need an answer to that. And then Bwipo understanding that, he can go for a wholesale of options to a blind pick Gnar, but opted for Ornn, realizing that he's just in a fine spot.
The thing I think about these two drafts, like when I look across the board at them, is definitely ease of execution, right? So like there is a world where you have the first pick Lee Sin, like Spica pointed out. One thing that we've kind of been critical of Inspired is playing around his lanes, or how he plays around his lanes when they're not pushing, and I don't think they're going to have a lot of pushing lanes up front. So that is kind of on him to help facilitate some of those lanes to help them out early, and they should be in locations where he might be able to do that. But the execution of this is a lot more difficult, where I look at TL's side, I'm like, every single player has something that I know they're incredibly comfortable with. That bot lane specifically, the Hail of Blades Tahm Kench is coming out. You know Core is going to be looking to get control of that 2v2 and possibly get kill pressure. We already mentioned Santorin's Viego from last. And then the Ahri from Bjergsen, where he's been phenomenal on that pick and helping their side lanes. So I just look across the board and it's like, this is not only like ease of execution is better, but everyone is super comfortable.
Spica, I've got a question for you. Imagine you're the Lee Sin in this draft.
I am, honestly, I'm crying right now.
Okay, so that answers the question I was going to ask, which is which jungler's position would you rather
just,
be in?
Just look at the lanes. Like, what? Like, just what is Lee Sin's job here? He can't gank really any lane. Like, sure, top lane is winning, but he has like no gank set up. He gets outscaled by Viego, so he's gonna need to do some magic pretty much. And I feel like TL just has all the time in the world. Like, they just outscale. So it's really up to EG to do something. And, you know, just hope they can execute.
That paints an ugly picture, man, when you say it's up to EG to do something. Immediately following, how does Inspire do anything with this draft?
It is definitely tough. I would not want to play the Lee Sin.
Good news is that he has this time now to cry before he gets on.
Get all the tears out, dehydrate yourself.
Exactly.
So you'd be good to go. Well, then let's talk about what maybe you said. Top lane is the only answer. Like, because how would you? Never mind. I take it back. I'm so sorry. Game is ready, and I know we all want to watch some gameplay. So going right back to the caches. We got plenty of time to talk about this a little bit later. Captain Flowers, my friend, take it away.
Now we're ready. Second time's the charm. We got the headsets and whatever the hell else all fixed up, and it's time for some League of Legends, Isaac.
Yeah, enough talking. Let's get some play. I want to see how this is going to pan out. It's going to be a tough one here, but we are in on the Rift for game number 1.
Let's rock and roll. Team Liquid, Evil Geniuses, best of 5 here in our second playoff series. Winner goes forward in the winner's bracket. Loser's not out, but the road becomes a lot tougher.
Yep.
Crowd's loving it, man. Team Liquid's fans roar to life. They are expecting a dominant show out of the favored team here today. And Team Liquid is ready to rock and roll. Bwipo there with the Summoner Spellbook, Ornn in the top side. Everything else pretty standard. Electrocute on the Ahri there for Bjergsen. You already mentioned the Hail of Blades for the Tahm Kench, so I'm curious just how aggressively Team Liquid's bottom lane duo is going to play.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I mean, you get those 3 quick autos that allows you to prep the stun or the offensive Devour even post 6. So definitely an interesting look here. Nothing too crazy going on with the early level 1. Both people going for a little bit of early warding. We can see the ward on the Raptor pit there, trying to track Inspired through these early levels. And Danny playing it pretty far back, wants to show that respect over to the TL bot lane for any potential invade.
Yeah,
we're not a lot about the push here.
We're not getting any of those early 5-man death ball invade. Just roll through and see if you might be able to find anybody. Everybody's content to play the vision game here nice and early. Going back to what you said during the pause, Inspired needs to be able to make something happen here early on the Lee Sin. You want to see him be able to get these lanes ahead, but the desk was talking about it's tough, man. Spica said Lee Sin's job is not very fun.
Oh, they spotted him, but they can't walk up. They actually can't walk up right now, so he's going to have to just play for the Q for XP and just trying to CS from max range here. They're going for a W start. Hail of Blades!
There they go, baby. CoreJJ jumps right on in, but it's Hans Sama taking the worst of it. Danny's still looking to find a little bit more here, but now we're all going to back away. Honestly, EG came out fine in that.
They did. Hans actually takes a much worse end of this because when you're playing against Yuumi, once you get to level 2, you know, you get the heal up, you start to really get that sustain going. Of course, it is Biscuits, then a 3-pot start here for Hans, so he will be okay for now. but TL trying to go for a really aggressive start to that game. They do get the flash off of Danny. That's the key difference. Yes, health-wise, EG came out fine, but you're down flash now onto him against a support that can look to engage on you. You're not going to have an answer, especially if they are pushing away from their tower. If Santorin gets down here, this is something that could be punished.
That's what they're gonna look for. CoreJJ starting off with the W. Hansama, yeah, getting poked down there as Danny brings back those feathers, hitting level 2. Up here in top side, Impact will have Bwipo pushed back, and that's pretty much going to be the way this lane looks like until it's over.
Exactly. And I mean, it's one of those things where occasionally you can have kill threat as the Ornn, you know, when you do play Spellbook and you get Ignites post.
Yeah, swap to Ignite.
If he
or
gets
something.
to Mini, then, you know, and he's kind of getting chipped down a little bit by Qmax. There is potential there, but mostly you're kind of just chilling and waiting. Santorin, though, they're calling him down here. They're going to look for the W in, and there's no flash on Danny.
CoreJJ already throwing him up into the air, but Danny takes essentially no damage. Okay, Santorin just appeared through there. Hallowed Mist coming down. TL's ready to try to make their move right now. CoreJJ is going to tank the aggro. Vulcan coming out, going right back in. Evil Geniuses stays alive. They're doing just fine under TL's pressure.
The TP got canceled as well. Their Impact trying to TP down to bot side. Bwipo actually cancels that. But in the 2v2, they're getting dangerously low here. Hansa's got to be careful. Another QE +1 auto from Danny could actually kill him. So TL gonna have to pay respect to that. They are gonna have to back it up.
TL's flexing those muscles, man, but they might be pushing too much weight. Evil Geniuses is ready for him.
Yeah, that was actually very well played by Vulcan, detaching, soaking as much damage as he could there, you know, with the passive, getting some mana back as well. And TL faked the recall, so they actually backed it up, faked the recall here. EG thought they could have a freeze on bot side. Vulcan thankfully has stayed around, so he can try to hold this. He can try to pull it up towards Try, and Inspired is pathing down, so he will be able to tank this wave for a bit, but you do not have a ton of health here. So he's holding it. Danny won't miss any of the farm at the very least. But thankfully for TL, they get the reset. And look how much better the buy is going to be, because when he goes back to base, Hansama had 33 CS. On the buy for Danny, only 18.
Inspired's looking for Bjergsen here in mid lane. Charm's not going to find anything. Flash coming out from Bjerg, but it's jojopyun underneath the tier 1 for first blood. Santorin will get nothing in return, and EG strikes first.
It is Jojo getting the first blood. He's not going to be first blooded here in game number 1. Inspired and Jojo getting aggressive there. Bjergsen not able to connect the charm onto Inspired on his Q. That was the critical thing there. Not able to connect on that. Will TP back and push in this wave. We can watch this one more time. Inspired should have been spotted here. Did Bjergsen just kind of think that he was safe? Or was the ward? The ward was misplaced. It didn't catch the edge of that path. So Inspired goes the long way around here. Bjergsen didn't see him coming. Now let's track this charm, because it's really all about that. A little bit too slow there from Bjergsen. I'm not sure if it was cooldown or he didn't expect Inspired to take it immediately. But look at Inspired tanking the tower, takes all 3 shots. Then Jojo flashes over the wall. Inspired equal to the task there, flashing out on the flash stun from Santorin. Great stuff here from EG, and now Inspired ghosting them on the bot lane, expecting a potential gank, and here comes that gank, and Inspired will be ready for it.
They're already ready to go. Danny's backing away. Vulcan soaks the damage. Core's going to be taken low, but so is Danny. He tries to walk it off. Santorin in hot pursuit, and Danny is down. Hansama's on the board, and Team Liquid strike next.
Even with the counter gank ready there, they can't actually do anything about it. Danny didn't have the flash. He got connected by that knock up there from the Tahm Kench, and with the Hail of Blades and the Ignite, it's enough to knock him down. Hansama committing both his summoners to chase him down to get the kill. TL get their Jinx rolling. Plus 20 CS nearly and a kill. Danny is way down now in this lane.
It is feeling bad for the bottom lane. Let's take another look at how they set it up, because EG, they had the read, but Team Liquid played it better.
They had the read, but when the knockup lands, how much can you do? He's not able to actually sidestep it there. Look how much damage he takes before he's really able to return any fire. It's a good job actually blocking out the stuns. You know, by Inspired and Vulcan, they're trying to block as much as they can, but with the Hail of Blade autos, with the Ignite on him early on, they pile in, they get the damage down. Hans flashes forward, use the heal for the move speed, connects with Danny, and he falls. Danny's got the summoners now, but it's looking rough on that bot side. Inspired gonna move back up towards top and try to contest this red here, potentially.
I mean, look at the item difference between the AD carries right now. 2 longswords and a tier versus Noon Quiver pickaxe. That's not even playing the same game.
Yeah, it's really, really rough. And And when you're in that kind of situation, you've got to rely purely on poke, right? You've got to rely on the QE poke there, from the Xayah, on the prowling projectiles just constantly from Vulcan, who has been actually really good at tagging Hans with them almost every single time. So they are kind of whittling down Hans. He has 1 biscuit in inventory, no more potions. So you're looking less for an all-in and more just to poke him out and try to push him out of the lane and awkward timing here. Another projectile does connect there, so slowly whittling him down.
CoreJJ will continue to posture as aggressively as he can to make sure that Hans is not completely forced off of that wave. Now, Hans was going for a recall in the brush.
They got it.
That's going to be interrupted. Nicely done there from EG to waste a little bit more of his time. Santorin's ready to go up here in top side. The Ornn horn has been sounded, and Santorin has arrived. Bwipo picks up a kill.
With Impact, he jumped in at the worst possible timing and jumps forward, and you see the jungler there, you just accept your death. You know you're gone. Without the hop, there's no way out for Impact. He wanted to reset the wave. He was in Mega, so he's going to jump forward and ult the Ornn plus the wave to get the shove there. But Santorin has the perfect timing. And when Bwipo with the read there, able to prevent it, get another kill for TL. Things looking really good. Only down 3 CS on the top side, plus you're up that kill. It's looking incredible for TL in the early stages. And if they are to win this series, whoever does win this series will at least lock an appearance in Houston.
And this squad, man, both these teams actually, the junglers have been doing a good job early on. They're both active. They're both making good reads on where they need to be. And it's Evil Geniuses who are going to go after this Rift Herald. There's still no Drakes taken. That first one's still chilling down there in the bottom side river. So this is the first neutral objective. They're going to have the entirety of the timer to get turret plates with. Where do you want to see this dropped?
We'll have to see. I mean, I think you probably want to go through mid with it. Try to get JoJo as much gold as possible. I feel like he's going to be your kind of major win condition. The Akali plus the Yuumi pairing with bot lane not going well, with top lane not going particularly well. It feels like a lot of the onus is going to be on JoJo and Vulcan with that combo to try to make something happen. But do you think you have options if anywhere you can get a kill? You can try to go for a full tower potentially with that Herald, which would be really, really nice because clearly they're not focusing on dragons. They're trying to establish a gold lead here early on, spend their time for that. But it hasn't amounted to much of anything yet. In fact, they are behind still off those kills.
Well, Danny having his serrated Dirk now is at least going to help out that poke versus all-in potential of the bottom lane trading pattern. But Impact just keeps throwing them boomerangs into Bwipo over and over and over again. Bwipo's been doing a perfectly fine job keeping up in farm, though. He's down about a wave, but in an Ornn versus Gnar matchup, that's
who cares? Okay. Exactly. It's not your job to be lane dominant. It's more your job to protect your tower, to be able to kind of just stay relevant so you're not getting run over in this matchup, and he's not anywhere close to that. Has the ultimate available again here, so there is potential to try to get aggressive here on Impact once more. Santorin is pathing up towards that top side, so TL might want to look for a play. It would be a little bit difficult with the Mega there, but he's trying to clear out the wave here, and Impact getting a little bit spicy. Has no leap now, so now you could potentially look. When he goes back into Mini, if Santorin wraps around right on Mini, you ult from the Ornn, and I think they get this kill, and that's what they're looking for. Notice how Santorin is waiting for that out. Now he goes with the Tri-Brush down. He's trying to threaten, but not going to commit to it.
All right, Impact's able to back away. They would be too hard of a force. They know that Impact still has the flash up, so they didn't want to overexert themselves there. Evil Geniuses, however, seeing that the Team Liquid jungler is on the other side of the map, take the opportunity to grab that first Drake. 11-minute first dragon is pretty slow, so it's not like there's going to be a soul rush this game, even if they maintain control over the next 1 or 2. But it is something that Team Liquid doesn't claim. And for Evil Geniuses, when you're talking about wanting to play from ahead, wanting to make sure you're coming into these fights from a position of strength, everything you keep away from Team Liquid is a plus.
Absolutely. I mean, they've grabbed both the neutral objectives. Nice little charm there. Chunks JoJo down here pretty low, but is playing a fairly defensive setup, so should be all right. He's playing second win. We see that in almost all the tough matchups these days, as people are finally learning second win is just kind of a lot more powerful than bone plating as far as the value it gets you. Already, JoJo has healed nearly 600, 591 from his second win.
4 extra potions.
4 extra potions, right? Just from this secondary rune is incredibly powerful. Up towards the top side, looks like they're going to Herald here, as Impact has already whittled this down a bit. You get that Demolish proc and you drop Herald.
Ooh, and they get the flash out of Bwipo there, too. So, yep, here comes your Herald. This is not going to kill the turret, but it will take it incredibly low. Yeah, it'll take it down to about half a plate. Ooh. Let's see, there's your charge. Kaboom! All right, but they're not done. Impact might be under some pressure here. Bwipo knocking him up into the air, just clearing out the wave with that ulti more than anything. Does not want to allow them to take the turret, just like you were talking about earlier.
Exactly, that's what it's for. It might look silly. It's like, well, you're not going to kill him there. No, he's actually just trying to clear the wave. Inspired arrives, but now you can't really look for any sort of a dive. And notice how he's actually spellbooked over towards heal.
Yep.
So that would be incredibly difficult to actually pull off anything here. I don't think that they will look for it. The last plate of a tower, even though it does look low, it's so tanky, so it's actually deceptively difficult to knock down, so they can't actually do it in his face. He even upgrades the tabbies there, clears out the wave, A-OK.
Yep.
Will take some damage, but you can reset potentially on the next cannon wave, and Bwipo doing a great job holding on. While down towards the bottom side, they're losing plates to Hans. Hans had an earlier interrupt on the recall from Vulcan and Danny that I think was pipped up. With his ultimate, as people playing Jinx have been doing that a lot more, just using it to interrupt recalls, using the ultimate for scouting early on. You don't need to hold on to it if you're not planning on having a major fight. So interrupts their tempo there, stopping the recall, gets the push in. They get plates bot, which is honestly just way more valuable than the plates are top.
Yeah.
When you look at the position Impact is in this game, he's not ahead enough that I feel like they're really going to get incredible value from those plates, whereas Kraken's already done on the bot side.
Oh, Bwipo jumped in there. Impact's looking
Still
for a
has
little
heal,
bit more
though.
damage on him. Goes for the wallop, but he won't find it. Impact still trying to maintain the pressure, but now Santorin has joined the fray. Impact still in mega form, still has his ultimate ready to use as well.
Fire's
So
coming.
Team Liquid is not going to try to jump in on this. Inspired's here, but he's on top of a ward. Han's now going to walk over a ward as well, and as EG see they're outnumbered 3-2, they back away.
Yep, they're going to have to back it up. It looks like TL's calling in for the swap. They want to defend their top tier 1 to try to prevent EG from getting the first tower there. So they move their bot towards top. They'll be able to push in here, knowing that they have Prio in the 2v2. There's no way that Impact is going to be able to finish this off by himself. You could go for that, but that's a risky play because Jinx is very fed and everything is up. Jojo going aggressive.
Jojo, he was looking for it there on Bjerg. Not quite enough damage to be able to take him down to a threshold where he could go for a big execution. So Jojo ends up spending the ulti there for not a kill, which is a sigh of relief whenever you're playing against Akali.
Yep, just trading the ultis, but I do think that benefits Bjergsen more. Bjergsen just needs to continue pushing him in. Danny now on this top side. They waited so long. There's 4 EG up here. They waited all that time for that, this whole time in the brush. Inspired waiting with Impact to try to make a play happen. They may lose bot tower just to the Ornn. Ornn's going to be down there bonking away.
Plates are
Slow
gone.
and steady wins the race. You don't need to be fast when nobody's there.
Bump. Hey, there it is. We got it. First turn of the game goes over to Bwipo and Team Liquid, who are currently commanding a 2,000 gold lead. But I'm willing to tell you about 75% of that is AD carry diff. When the gold was up on your screen earlier, you saw that Han Sama, thank you so much, observers. Han Sama is a BF sword above his opponent, and that is nothing to scoff at 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. Danny will be able to be pretty strong as far as the burst he is bringing out. With this lethality build, if you can connect with enough feathers, that is pretty devastating. But TL, it's one of those games where they're just running away with it early through superior early game play. This has been a problem for EG as they draft a lot of compositions that depend on early game dominance, and against the top teams, they have not been able to dominate early.
Yeah.
They are 0-6 against the other upper bracket teams in the regular season, and TL is securing the late game for them. So if you're on EG's side, you got to be sweating already. You got to be feeling like you need to make something happen. But TL have done an excellent job playing around these looks that EG are going for, warding them out, tracking the enemy jungle, and always being there to answer.
And Team Liquid have responded to the first Rift Trail that was taken by EG by grabbing the second one for themselves. But now EG's coming in to try to stop Santorin as he goes for the second Drake of the game. EG were also first to that neutral objective the first time around. Bwipo coming in now. The Ornn Horn is ready if Team Liquid decide they want to try to go for a fight. Jojo is up in the top lane. He has an Unleashed teleport to join up if need be. Inspired going to tag the Drake there with a Sonic Wave. Team Liquid going right back into the Drake pit. They want to go for the objective. They don't want to give EG a 2-0 Drake start.
They can fight now.
There it is. Bwipo's going to continue leading the charge. Here comes your Ornn Horn, throwing it out towards the Xayah, forcing out the ulti there. Danny's going to come right on back down. Impact loses half his health to 3 rockets. Team Liquid is not going to get any kills there, but they got the objective, and that's what they came for.
Yep, they got the objective, so any chance of a soul stack is so pushed back. I mean, the first dragon there wasn't grabbed till about 11 minutes anyway, and now Jojo gonna get found out. We'll see if he can escape. Looks like he will.
He's Akali.
There's no secondary member behind him, so gonna be able to go in the shroud, get out, no problem. They do at least, get some farm there for the Akali. They get the solo tower gold for the Akali as well off that tier 1. And I talked about it earlier, but really the hope for this game is Jojo. There's not any natural exhaust. Bwipo is sitting on one from Spellbook, but you're not going to have that up for every fight. But it's going to be up to Bwipo to kind of use that at a really appropriate timing. We'll see how long he wants to hold on to it, if he wants to save it, for a long time for a key fight, maybe in the next dragon. Because if you can shut down Jojo and win that next fight heavily, it feels like the game is almost yours.
Yeah, Jojo with Vulcan attached to him, just going on a montage rampage through a team fight, assassinating both the carries, taking care of Santorin. I mean, yeah, it's not going to be easy for Akali to assassinate Tahm, Kench, or Ornn, but the goal is to get everybody else, and then those two don't matter.
I mean, even if you can just get one, like if you can start the fight by killing off Hans, it's winnable, right? It's winnable after that, but it's going to be a very difficult thing to try to pull off. Inspired here trying to threaten on the side as TL do crash the Herald here mid. Almost able to get that mid tower down, but not wanting to overextend, and it's just kind of 1-3-1 right now for EG. Pushing out the sides here. You can see Akali and Gnar out towards those side lanes. You're trying to get some work done, shoving up these waves. But the big problem is, you look at these areas. There's no EG wards in any of these jungle, like nothing.
Nope.
So they don't really have a lot of safety. It's like, yeah, you want to play through sides and shove up, but like, as soon as someone goes missing, you've got no idea where they are, and you have to play with respect to that, which makes it difficult to actually get a lot done, besides just shoving in the wave and basing.
Also worth keeping track of Ornn's levels. At level 12, he's getting dangerously close to where he can start upgrading all of those items, those mythic items, to their stronger components for himself and his team, which means just more power that's not reflected by the gold lead itself would be going over to TL. So the clock continues working against the evil geniuses. You can see, though, that at least the Proto Belt's done for the Akali, has the Blighting Jewel in the inventory as well to be able to get some of that magic penetration there, because you're going to need some. There's MR being built on the side of Team Liquid. They recognize the Akali win condition. It's a Hex Drink or second for the Viego.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, every tank mythic has MR on it as well. So they are going to pay respect to that. Core are very likely going to be just going for a locket, to be able to kind of have that additional safety of it.
Yep.
And 13 already ticked there for Bwipo, so the first upgrade does come through. The Rhymeforge Grasp is in, and EG just trying to establish vision, trying to find a way in. But I'm curious to see when they're going to actually try to make their stamp on this game, when they're going to try to decide to look for a fight, because you can't just give too much time over. It's already 2 items for Hans, and I feel like if you haven't made anything happen by the time he hits 3, it's lights out.
Well, here comes Core and Hans, and there goes Impact, juggled around like a side act at the circus from the knockups, and Team Liquid's getting paid again.
Knocked up, rooted down, going to be a scouting ultimate over to Baron, make sure there's no sort of counter Baron there. Hans sees they are scot-free there. Knocking down the tier 2 as well. Again, TL giving him that solo gold, solo XP as much as possible here for the Jinx. Hans is getting really, really powerful, and they're not able to make any headway in these side lanes whatsoever. Sure, Danny's getting a decent amount of farm here in mid, but he's just not going to have that same level of threat, I think, that this Jinx is, with his massive front line. And TL's ability to choose their fights, that is the key difference.
Yeah.
EG doesn't really get to pick when they fight. When you're playing from behind, you don't have any hard engage to actually get picks. And all TL really has to do is play around the Mega Gnar. As soon as Impact goes mini, they can take any fight they want.
And that's my problem with drafts like this, when you're coming into a matchup against a team that you have a very poor record against. Like, you do not perform well against Team Liquid as evil geniuses, and then not drafting any engage feels like you're making your own difficult job even that much more of a wall to climb over.
And it must just be down to comfort, comfort on some of these champions. Obviously, they are taking a little bit of a different look. Their swing, I think, in this game was really the Akali Yuumi combo. Haven't gotten to see that showcase, but Charm does land.
Oh, inspired. He gets away from the CoreJJ knock-up in time to stay alive, but that's going to be flash from Lee Sin. We're talking about limited engage mechanisms. Well, there goes the opportunity for a flash kick for the next 5 minutes. Danny's down to half HP. Tier 1 turret falls over. Jinx gets a little excited, and Danny gets a little bit low. Evil Geniuses take another L here in the mid lane. Bwipo goes for the knock-up onto Jojo, but he's not going to find that one. Jojo returns a little bit of damage, but Akali ain't going to firstborn anytime soon. Bjergsen comes in. Charm's not going to find him, but Everfrost does. Jojo's still trying to run away, uses the E for another escape mechanism. He's trying to get out of town, but Bjergsen runs this city, and that's another kill for TL.
They get another kill, at least on top side, though. Impact is pushing the base. It was a long chase down there, committing a lot to it. Won't be able to get that tower just yet. And Hans does collect the dragons. They grab another dragon here. They get another kill. 2K gold lead has remained pretty stable over the last 5-10 minutes here for TL in a really good spot. Second item does come through here for Jojo, so he's got that working for him. And Moonstone now finally completed there for Vulcan. So he is going to be starting to get, a lot stronger here. Has maxed out the heal, stopped on 4 points Q. Likely going to start going into the W perhaps from here, where you can start to get that bonus AP. That is going to be such a big deal because it's the flat bonus AP plus a percentage amp. And that's something that I think a lot of people forget about with the Yuumi. That is really going to start to ramp up what Jojo can do in these fights.
Jojo just now getting that Void Staff completed. That's going to mean a lot, combining that with the hit from the AP. But Team Liquid on Baron, man.
EG doesn't even know.
EG, you're going to have to do something about it. A Baron in 23 minutes is not going to make this game more manageable. Not in any way, shape, or form. Impact is there first, but it's down to 2,000. Jojo's coming around from behind, but the smite is already done. They're firing off the Yuumi ulti. They're going to lock down the enemy AD carry. Han Sama's been found, but he flashes away. It's Jojo first to die. And the Evil Geniuses are about to be hurting. Impact tries to get out. He and Vulcan remain, but that is it. Is a 2-for-3 trade. Team Liquid gets the Baron, and they win the fight.
Yeah, Bjergsen hunting here, looking for the charm. Not going to be able to find it. Santorin on the wraparound here has Xayah's body, but it's just going to be the push for the tower. A lot closer fight than I thought as Danny showcasing the pullback there. Erased Hans off the map. They're looking for the dive.
Oh, the Everfrost just barely missing out there on the route on Impact at maximum range. He's staying alive. The Yuumi trying to protect him. Team Liquid is going to take that top lane tier 1 finally. The gold lead now exploding to 5,000.
5,000. Their upgrades are coming through here as well now. Bjergsen with the upgrade as well on their AD carry. So they rush down the Baron here, but it's all about Jojo. Jojo is tracked by the pink ward on that top side. They can see him on the flank and track Bjergsen here now in this fight. The charm he lands onto Jojo makes all the difference. Ornn, immediate charm there over onto him, and he just gets burst down right away. With Jojo dying so quickly, wasn't able to really get much done in that fight, not able to kind of find the safety of the Shroud. And with him falling, their chances in that fight really did drop as well.
Man, things are tough for Evil Geniuses now. Damage in the last fight. You can see Danny did a good job doing everything that he could. Over 3,000 damage dealt. But when Jojo just gets exploded at the start of the fight and doesn't deal any more than 400, it's not a good look. Jojo now trying to find a kill on Santorin. But again, having a Hex Drinker can sometimes make the difference in keeping you alive. And Jojo's got to back away now. No Akali ulti is a green light for TL to do whatever they want.
Absolutely. And the IE is completed now for Hans. He has the upgraded Ornn item. He has his third item in. They are just so ridiculously strong. And yeah, Danny got a lot of damage down, but the reality is you have to actually get a lot more damage out in a fight to win against TL because they have a very beefy front line. You have to get through Kench. You have to get through Ornn. So you're going to need to put out massive amounts of damage to be able to do that.
Ornn has 4,500 health. Like,
that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how getting through that's going to work out for anybody, but I don't imagine it's going to go too well. Now let's see how much more Team Liquid can get out of this Baron. They've got plenty of guys here in the mid lane at the tier 2. Bjergsen separated from the rest of the team, but the other 4 remain together. Bjergsen gonna find Inspired there in his own jungle, steal away that large wolf from the camp. Inspired's gonna be forced back now too as the tier 2 falls. Bwipo continuing to look for more. They get the ulti out of the Xayah. Very important team fighting tool. Inspired goes in, he goes for a kick, but he ain't gonna get anything. CoreJJ ready with the save. Impact has to jump back out. When EG tries to make a move, they're just too far behind and it's not working. Jojo now continuing the chase, trying to find a little bit more. Core with the Abyssal Voyage over the wall, but Jojo is on the hunt. The Yuumi missile's not gonna find the target.
They gotta
Team
chase.
Liquid trying to disengage. Jojo wants to go in, but Jojo goes down. Vulcan gets away, or at least tries to do something to help, but it ain't gonna matter. He finds his way over to Danny, but Jojo's assassination is foiled.
It's the charm again from Bjergsen, charming up Jojo as he tries to go in there. EG had to go for some sort of a desperation play, try to get the chase down, try to get an ace, get some control on the map, but they're not able to get anything. Core slinks away a low health bar there. TL reset. They're going to be here for the dragon even. Jojo will still be down, so it should be soul point for free here for TL. Not much chance of a contest on this one. It is getting slimmer and slimmer, the chances. TL, picking up the luxury items that they need to guarantee this win. GA is through for Santorin as well. That's going to be a lot of safety, and it's going to be a BT fourth for Hans, just making sure that he cannot get poked out, that he cannot get burst down.
I don't really see a world where EG wins this one without a massive TL throw at this point. They're just so far ahead. So for EG, I would hope that they're thinking about what went wrong, what they need to change. Like, this is one of the differences between playoffs and regular season. It's best of 5, it's not best of 1. You've got to be able to make those adaptations and make those changes mid-series. And I think those changes are going to have to start in the draft and getting themselves more of an ability to say, no, we fight here, we fight now. Because this whole game, EG's felt like a spectator for their own champions.
Absolutely, and that might require them, to even just have a different pick order, right? Pick support earlier, try to grab something, for Vulcan. We saw all those bans kind of thrown towards him. The Nautilus, the Iona, Rakan, all banned out against Vulcan. If you wait till late in the draft, TL can just rinse and repeat on that sort of a strategy. He is kind of their big playmaker. In fact, has not been playing a lot of tanks this year whatsoever. So it really is kind of down to Vulcan to be there engaged. He's the guy, and it may force them to really rethink some of these priorities.
And Team Liquid's playing this very safe. They're waiting for this next bear, and there's 30 seconds on that one. They're not giving themselves any sort of a chance to throw here. Now Bjergsen's joining back up with the rest of them here in mid, and Bwipo's decided it's time to go. They force out the ulti. That's kind of the trade that we're seeing get made over and over and over again. Is Bwipo sacrifices his ult, it demands Danny's ult in turn, and it fizzles out.
And I mean, the biggest thing here is that you trade out that ultimate, and now Danny cannot play aggressive in a team fight, right? You need your ultimate on Xayah to be able to get aggressive, otherwise you can get easily picked off by someone like Bjergsen or Santorin getting aggressive on you. So it forces Danny to play very passive, and EG needs him to be aggressive. EG needs him to be an X factor, but you just can't. When rinse and repeat, Bwipo is making the smart play, forcing that ulti out. Again, they are pushing on bot side. They do take a tower down there on this split push, but now TL can start up the Baron here, potentially try to draw out that TP from Jojo, and maybe even look for the turn.
Bwipo takes a little bit of punishment here as evil geniuses are able to push forward, clear out some of the TL vision, but it is TL who had removed the wards from EG in the Baron pit. EG does not want to give away this next one. I think you'd rather YOLO a fight at Baron than let them have the Baron and just take the rest of the map. It just feels completely doomed at that point. So EG is trying very hard to keep eyes on this, trying very hard to have some sort of a position to play around here in the topside river, but Team Liquid knows what they want to do in this game.
Absolutely. And Jojo did complete the Zonias off of his last base. He got the objective bounty off the bot lane tier 1. So he grabs up the Zonias. That's going to allow him to play a little bit more aggressive here potentially. But he's got to be able to avoid these charms, because in every critical fight, Bjergsen has hit him with the charm and he's just died straight up getting burst down. So he's got to be so careful about tracking that spell. That has been the one that is getting him every single time from TL. If you can use the Zonias, avoid that charm, maybe you can make something happen. If you are grouped up there with Vulcan, you get in the Shroud, you have the Yuumi ulti coming down, you start to really ramp up that damage. That is your hope for EG. And TL just playing calm, collected, this is very much the style that they have played in the past that did win them all of those champions back to back to back to back to back.
Yep. And hey, look at the Bloodthirster completed now for Han Sama, itemizing against the Akali one-shot, itemizing against the dive, giving himself that extra resistance to burst. We've got upgraded mythics on everybody now. You just now saw the icon change, that little orange thing appearing in the bottom right of the support mythic item for CoreJJ. That means all 5 players have the enhanced Ornn power on the side of Team Liquid, so there's even more that's not seen in the gold lead. And now they're going right back over to the Baron. Remember, after this, if they get this Baron, the Soul is in 1 minute, and they'll be in a prime position to take that as well. EG trying to move in, but the Baron is already being burned so quickly. Inspired wants to go in, but it's already done. Bwipo gonna throw the Ornn Horn over. Inspired is in the pit, but he doesn't want to be there. Vulcan's gonna be killed off next. The rest of TL's just able to keep EG at bay. Santorin looking to reset. He's playing Akali better than JoJo was. Triple kill over to Santorin. Impact can't do a thing. And TL take the Baron and mop him up.
It's a quadra kill for Santorin, popping off in game number 1. And that should do it. TL on the death march here. Absolute domination.
Evil geniuses tried, but Team Liquid had the answer all the way back in draft. It never really seemed like a concern for them the whole game. And off the back of that Baron fight, Team Liquid takes it to the Nexus. And Team Liquid takes the first game in our series.
Really impressive stuff here from TL. And as much as Santorin downplays how hard it is to do the Viego mechanics, playing all these different champions, we were interviewing him last week about it. He's like, it's nothing that hard, it looks cooler than it is. Man, he is so good on the Viego and so quick to play out these situations optimally. Even in that final fight, taking the Akali body, finding the flash E onto Danny there, pushing him out of the fight as well. Just really quick thinking from him, picking up a quadra kill in those final moments. Really, really impressive from TL. They were just absolutely in control start to finish in that one.
Yeah.
You said it. It never felt like they were outside of the comfort zone. EG have got to try to flip the script. You've got to show us something different here. You can't come in and just expect to outlane TL, to get these massive leads in the early game. You're not going to be able to do it. They're too solid of a team across the map. So I want to see EG get aggressive. I want to see them, draft the ability to create action on their own terms, multiple forms of engage, find fights where TL are not ready for them, and try to use that. Or the other option is just draft full late game and try to match them in 5v5, because that is another option that
Truly
you can
play
do.
the scaling matchup.
Exactly,
right?
and say, hey, we're going to just play lane slow like you, and we're going to go, all right, you want to go Jinx? Well, we're going to go, scaling ADC as well. We're going to go Victor. We're going to go Orianna and just try to go late in 5v5, because what they're doing isn't working.
Yeah, Team Liquid definitely had that one under control. They charge ahead and claim our first game in this best of 5. Let's go break it down at the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, gents. Team Liquid coming out on top in the first game of the series. Given that early pause that we had, we already had the opportunity to talk about the team compositions and across the board here, bigger fans of Team Liquid's comp than EG's, kind of citing the difficulty of execution that it would be for EG in piloting that team comp to victory. And at the end of the day, it kind of played out right before our eyes.
Yeah, I mean, just, like we talked about before, I wasn't really a big fan of the, Lee Sin 1 pick. I felt like the champ is not super strong. I mean, I think it's definitely one of the best junglers right now, but I feel like compared to Viego, it's definitely not worth picking over.
Yeah.
And I was just really confused about the 4-5 bans. Like, why would you leave Viego off the best option? And Santorin has shown that he's able to play super well on that champ.
It's probably what they're discussing right now in their huddle, right? Like, maybe we rethink a little bit of that. But I also think, too, your point is even highlighted more so by the fact that they picked up First Blood. So the Lee Sin was getting work done.
It did work.
And it didn't matter, right? But, like, it didn't surmount.
Yeah, just talking about the mid ganks, I felt like it was a really, really good kill, good gank, but it didn't really change the state of mid lane. From what I was watching, like Bjerg still had push. JoJo wasn't able to get any kills on Bjerg, so it just felt like even though you had the gank, it didn't impact the game state at all. Yeah,
you kind of have to repeat it, or I'll point out on bot side, right? We had TL prepping that 2v2 for a dive. It didn't work out, but they were still actually able to get pressure off of it. And that has a lot to do with TL's composition. It has a lot to do with their understanding of just side lanes and the way they play the game. We saw that Herald drop right there for EG. TL actually came out even on that trade.
I believe they came out on top. Like, like Hansama got like 4 place spot, which is, you know, what TL exactly wants. He's gonna be the main carry, and he got a lot of gold. And I felt like that snowballed the game. Well, I guess kept TL's early game more stable than they would like.
And then you see at this point in the game, it's really hard, especially once TL is able to be on Soul Point, able to get Soul Point on free, they put all their vision topside, recognize the Evil Geniuses just like playing really respectfully. They ended up just rushing it, even with the blue trinkets on top. And the turn was pretty damn good. And you can hear from the casters themselves just how proficient Santorin is the moment he hits Akali. Well deserving of the quadra kill that he ended up getting this far.
Flowers and JoJo a little dirty there.
There's some flavor.
It's too funny. Either way, though, yeah, this is very much the kind of Team Liquid, though, that we think of when we think about a TL that might pick up the championship, right? They look pretty clean, and when they have control of a game, it's very rare that they're going to let it go. Sure, you had a couple looks there where, Danny's picking up a double kill, and you get that moments of brilliance from EG, but it never felt like TL was in danger of letting it go.
That's why I'm looking towards the consistent play. If we're talking about what Evil Geniuses need to do to feel like they're contesting Team Liquid in the series, we can talk about the drafts and harp on it. It's more so just the in-game stuff, because this is a window where Team Liquid sees an opportunity to collapse on Gnar, and we get to see this snapshot, but it's the setup that's important. It's the fact that the, EG had first mid push, and they could actually put down vision towards bot side, because there's no threat on a 20-minute Baron. Just so they can allow Gnar to actually start pushing up on the Ornn, chip at turret plate, or chip at the turret, and at least use that as a win con. But they push through mid, get vision through top side. They still have to wait for the top lane wave to bounce and hit for Akali. And so using that window, Team Liquid push through mid, and then just go straight through the fog of war to get towards the Gnar bot lane. So these are just kind of things that in-game, Evil Geniuses need to actually shore up. And if they know that they're in those windows where it's like, okay, Gnar is going to be in threat, just having impact play back.
And when we talk about, like, okay, TL are the best team, or in my opinion, TL are the team with the greatest understanding of side lane pressure, that's exactly indicative of what I'm talking about. Because even though they're not the team necessarily looking to play through, like, a 1-3-1 setup in this case, they're able to call EG's bluff and respond when they are trying to play through side lanes through a stronger understanding of wave management and how the map works.
It's a lot of gold.
Just off the Baron.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold.
So just simply the Baron power play. It's funny because we were looking at the game and how slow-paced it actually was, but then the game just blew right open the moment the Baron hit.
I think that's the terrifying thing about Team Liquid, and maybe you can attest to this, Spica, that when they do secure an objective like that, a win con in and of itself, they will pilot it pretty much perfectly. We actually criticized them at one moment with their Baron that, like, oh, maybe you gave up a little more than you should have, and yet they still picked up 13.7 gold.
I mean, like I said before, it's just up to EG to win, right?
Yeah.
EG just has to do everything, and TL could just sit back, just relax. They just relax. Okay, it hit 20 minutes, we're even, the game is over.
All right, well then let's talk about what EG has to do. Down 1-0 in the series. They get side selection as the losing team from game number 1, and they are selecting to jump over to red side.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
All right, so that's what you wanted, that's what you thought. What do you want to see now in the draft? No more Lee Sin first picks.
I just want to see more mid jungle and support action. I felt like playing Vulcan on Yuumi is just bad for the team's playstyle. I felt like the Yuumi did work in the bot lane. They were winning lane, even though they got focused on early game. But I just want to see Vulcan play engage supports. I felt like he sees a lot of angles and just, put Bjerg on a champ that just is not really safe. That doesn't have dash, right?
Yeah.
Ahri, even though you could kill her, she can just, it's just super hard to kill Ahri. So just want to see them maybe like ban it, pick it away, and just play more for JoJo to push mid and to go to side.
Interesting point, because it almost feels like Team Liquid agrees with you. Bans from that first game, right? We saw the Leona go out. We see the Tahm Kench get picked by Core himself and the Nautilus itself. So they're like, don't give Vulcan those tools to start fights, because they see him as a playmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if EG are selecting red side, I do think it leans into, if they still do want to do like a 1-3-1 setup or something where they're trying to get side lane pressure with like an Akali, with a Gnar, then this does lean into that where they can counterpick if they want to stick to that. I would still like to see them have a good team fighting option as well, because we know that TL, like when they pick that kind of composition with a 5v5, they'll get a guaranteed fight around Dragon and around Baron all the time, right? So you're still going to have to go into them. And if you don't have side lane pressure set up through counter picks, that's going to be a lot more difficult.
Also, it's really difficult throughout a series to like start making large changes, right? If slapping on band-aids for drafts is going to be one thing. And so I think we saw this from Team Liquid in their final week, just adding more options of ways to engage. The Ashe or like the Nautilus, obviously. There's just going to be a lot of ways in which you can start a fight. I think Evil Geniuses kind of need a little bit of that. So we already kind of reminding myself of the Pro-to-Pro with Kai when he was talking through Vulcan's decision-making on like the Nautilus is when he's looking through stuff like mid. Kind of things you're talking about, Spica, where he finds options, he finds angles. This is something that Evil Geniuses have prided themselves throughout the split, is him and Inspired going to work and getting jojopyun ahead. So go back to what's worked for you throughout the split. And I think that's a direction they'll go.
Get those go buttons. We also always talk about how many metas develop within series and that jungle meta, whether or not that Viego is going to rise in priority. I get worried for EG if they leave it up here that it'll be first picked up by Santorin this time around. They'll never have an opportunity to see it. Either way, we'll have our answers soon enough when it comes to Champion Select. It's time for us to step away on the other side. We'll see if the young blood of Evil Geniuses can strike back to tie up the series in Game 2 right after this.
Take a big ol' whiff! It smells like fans are back, my friend!
God, man, it is so good!
They're firing off the Yuumi ulti. They're gonna lock down the enemy AD carry. Hansama's been found, but he flashes away. It's JoJo first to die.
Reason!
Evil Geniuses are about to be hurting. The rest of TL just able to keep EG at bay. Santorin looking to reset. He's playing Akali better than JoJo was. Triple kill over to Santorin. Impact can't do a thing. And TL take the Baron and mop him off.
It's a quadra kill for Santorin, popping off in game number 1.
They give us love. They give us joy. They give us lessons in sharing. So give them some love back. And what says love better than something you can chew on? Use your MasterCard to make secure purchases from anywhere. So your gift will end up in the right hands or mouth. Because being there for each other is priceless.
What's going on?
Jake from State Farm, the perp just confessed. I think. I don't know.
What?
Oh, can't afford streaming anymore, so here we are.
Oh, don't give up what you love. State Farm has options to personalize your policy so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Oh, that's great. The subtitles would be nice.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
Not even fair.
What if respawning was refreshing? Here's to the round between rounds.
This game is rigged. This game is out to get me.
This is a league built on speed and precision, where everything needs to perform at a pro level, especially your hardware.
They block the road. They want to complete the final piece of the puzzle. They don't have enough damage for it, but who cares? It's all a formality, baby. The winner of LCS Lock-In.
Even if you're hard stuck plat, like me, forever. Roccat, the official mouse and keyboard of the LCS.